So, good morning, everyone. Before we start, we'd like to request Ma'am Yvonne to lead the prayer. Good morning once again to the BAC members, BAC DPWH, BAC Secretariat, observers, our partners in development, and the people of the Republic of the Philippines, especially the constituent of Sultan Kudarat II District Engineering Office. Today, July 15, 2026, I would like to welcome you to our pre-bid conference in line of the pre-bid conference, in line the Department Order 105 Series of 2020, pursuant to Administrative Order 34, issued by the previous President Rodrigo Duterte, dated October 23, 2020, wherein the principles of transparency and accountability in the public service were reiterated, and in order to avoid irregularities in the procurement process, transparency and accountability in all government transactions, especially in procurement process, shall be observed. I formally welcome you to our DPWH 62nd DEO YouTube live streaming for the pre-bid conference of 8 civil works projects. Before we start, I would like to request the BAC Secretariat, Mr. Lorizo, to read the attendance.
Good morning, everyone. Today is July 15, 2026, and we're about to have our pre-bid conference for 8 civil works contracts. For the attendance of the pre-bid conference, for our BAC members, we have our presiding officer, our BAC chairperson, the chief of the maintenance section, Engineer Reynaldo G. Castor. Together with us, our BAC provisional member, Engineer Jade Cordero. And with us to our live streaming, we have our BAC vice chairperson, the chief of the planning and design section, Engineer Abdul Ridan Patuan. Our BAC regular member, Engineer Jahaira Magarang, and our BAC provisional member, also our end user representative for civil works, the chief of the construction section, Engineer Pinky Isderuin. For our BAC technical working group headed by Engineer Alrafi Dikemamo, we have the members of the BAC technical working group, Engineer Melody Monteverde, Engineer Pagaduan, Engineer Alvide Marquez, and Engineer Dominic Madriaga. For our BAC secretariat headed by Engineer Anthony Pidimen, members of the BAC Secretariat, Sir Alan Enfreno, and yours truly, Frank Ribal Lorizo. For our observers, we have invited observers, but so far wala pa pong dumarating. And for our presenters from the planning and design section, we have Danica J. Padios and Ma'am Rosella Faye Avila.
Thank you, Mr. Lorizo. I would like to formally open this session at exactly 10:17 in the morning. The agenda of the pre-bid are as follows. One is the brief presentation, explanation. And there's a brief presentation. We have to discuss the basic contract data, requirements of bidding documents, documents to be submitted by the bidders. And the next, number 2, is the question, comments from bidders, and replies of BAC and other representative of procuring entity. And the third agenda is other matters. And the last is the summary proceedings, including bid bulletin to be issued. So we have 8 civil works projects for this pre-bid conference. For the first projects, the contract ID number 26MS0013, construction of drainage structure along road Awang Upi Libak Kalamansig Palimbang Sarangani Road, with an EBC of 16,703,103 pesos. The next is the contract ID 26MS0032, widening of bridge Wal Br 1 along Awang Upi Libak Kalamansig Palimbang Sarangani Road, location Palimbang Sultan Kudarat, with an EBC of 14,108,080 pesos. And the next is the contract ID 26MS0034, construction of concrete road Basak Bilyamunti Kapilan connecting to New Kalinog in support of the bamboo and coffee plantation. Location Libak Sultan Kudarat, with an EBC of 27,881,980. For the next project is the 26MH0070, rehabilitation of multipurpose building, Esperanza National High School, Barangay Poblacion, Esperanza, Sultan Kudarat. Location, Esperanza, Sultan Kudarat. With an EBC of 4,950,000 pesos. And the next is contract ID 26MH0089. Construction or completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Salansang, Libak, Sultan Kudarat. Location, Libak, Sultan Kudarat. With an EBC of 2,970,000. And for the next project is the contract ID 26MH0091. Construction completion phase 2 of multipurpose building, Barangay Sison, Bagumbayan, Sultan Kudarat. Location, Bagumbayan, Sultan Kudarat. With an EBC of 1,980,000 pesos. And the next project is contract ID 26MH0104. Construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Kraan, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. Location, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. In an EBC of 4,950,000. And the last project is contract ID 26MH0107. Construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Malatunul, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. Location, Palimbang. With an EBC of 4,950,000 pesos. So now I will give the floor to our planning engineers for the BC contract data as well as the discussion of plans.
So, good morning everyone, especially to everyone present here. So, I'll be presenting the pre-bid projects. So, the first project with the contract ID of 26MH0013 with the name of contract of construction of drainage structure along road Awang Upi Libak, Kalamansig Palimbang, Sarangani Road with a station of 2009 plus 165 to 2009 plus 543 and 2010 plus 252 to 2010 619 and 2010 plus 724 to 2010 plus 862. Located at Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. For the scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction of drainage structure located at Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat, with physical target of 1,776 linear meter. For the ABC, we have 16,703,120 pesos with 174 calendar days. So we have here the quarry map, the index of sheet, the abbreviations, the vicinity map, the general plan. So here is the section 1, the section 2, and the section 3. So for the summary of quantities, for the clearing and grubbing, we have 3.56 hectares. For the individual removal of trees with 150 to 300 millimeters diameter small, we have 7 each. For the individual removal of trees 301 to 500 millimeters diameter small, we have 4 each. For the removal of structures or obstruction concrete, we have 117 cubic meters. For the surplus common excavation, we have 3,247.79 cubic meters. For the structure excavation of soft rock, we have 1,516.66 cubic meters. For the embankment from borrow common soil, we have 228.70 cubic meters. For the subgrade preparation of common materials, we have 1,190 square meters. For the aggregate subbase course, we have 314 cubic meters. For the Portland cement concrete of 0.15 meters thick, we have 1,190 square meters. For the reinforcing steel grade 60, we have 12,601 kilograms. For the reinforcing steel grade 40, we have 1,160 kilograms. For the structural concrete, we have 279 cubic meters. For the pipe culverts of 910 millimeters diameter, we have 4 linear meter. For the concrete for slope protection, we have 11.63 cubic meters. So we have here the cut and fill data for section 1 and the soft rock section 1. Here, the data for section 2 and section 3. So we have here the schedule of line canal reinforcement bar for section 1. Here is for section 2 and for section 3. Here is the schedule of line road protection rebar for section 1. Then here is the rebar of catch basin and head wall. So we have here the concrete catch basin plan, the section A and the section B. Here is the typical roadway section along existing structure for section 1. Here is the typical section at section 2 and 3. The typical section at section 1 and the details of line canal. We have here the traverse plan, the project profile for section 1, the cross sections, here is the traverse plan for section 2. And then the project profile for section 2. The cross sections. And then the traverse plan for section 3. The project profile for section 3. The cross sections for section 3. And then the construction traffic warnings. And then the DPWH tarpaulin. So the next is with the contract ID number 26MH0032, the name of contract Widening of Bridge, Wal Bridge 1, B00336MN, along Awang Upi, Libak, Calamansig, Palimbang, Sarangani Road, located at Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. So with the scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the widening of bridge, Wal Bridge 1, B00336MN, along Awang Upi, Libak, Calamansig, Palimbang, Sarangani Road with a physical target of 0.01235 kilometers. So the ABC for this project is 14,108,080 pesos with a contract duration of 179 calendar days. So we have here the index of sheet, the summary of quantities. So for the removal of structures or obstruction for concrete, we have 82.19 cubic meters. For the structure excavation of common soil, we have 350 cubic meters. For the shoring, cribbing, and related works, we have one lump sum. For the embankment from borrow common soil, we have 511.62 cubic meters. For the aggregate sub-base course, we have 130.38 cubic meters. For the Portland cement pavement for 0.15 meters thick, we have 133.95 square meters. For the Portland cement concrete pavement of 0.28 meters thick, we have 299.16 square meters. For the precast concrete piles furnished, we have 352 meters. For the precast concrete piles driven, we have 352 meters. For the test piles furnished and driven, we have 32 meters. For the pile shoes, we have 24 each. For the splicing of RC piles with epoxy, we have 24 each. For the reinforcing steel grade 60, we have 36,877 kilograms. For the structural concrete, we have 165 cubic meters. For the lean concrete, we have 3.52 cubic meters. For the paint, we have 45 square meters. For the preformed sponge rubber joint expansion, we have 0.35 cubic meters. For the reinforcing steel grade 40, we have 1,036 kilograms. For the structural concrete, we have 64 cubic meters. For the grouted riprap, we have 106.75 cubic meters. For the metal guardrail, we have 44.65 linear meters. For the metal beam and piece fishtail, we have 2 each. For the regulatory signs, 600 mm circle. Speed sign, speed restriction maximum, we have 2 each. For the reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings white, we have 7.01 square meters. So we have here the quarry map, the vicinity map, the geolocation map, the general notes. So we have here the topographic plan. We have here the plan for the widening of bridge. Then the general elevation, the typical section. Then the pile elevation, the pile splice detail, the pile splice, another pile splice detail, and then the pile tip for hard driving. We have here the welded spiral tie splice detail, and then its notes. We have here the slab framing plan. So we have here the longitudinal section, the typical cross section, the section at middle, and then the section at the support. So we have here the plan, the section, and the concrete pouring sequence. We have here the intermediate diaphragm detail. So here's the elevation, the section. We have here the camber diagram. Then we have here the girder elevation and the bottom bar schematic layout. Here is the section at mid-span and then the detail. So we have here the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for the superstructure of 12.35 meter single span. We have here the half showing reinforcement, then the dimension, its elevation, the wing wall elevation, its sections. Here is the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for the abutment, its plan and elevation. Here's the paraffin joint and the deflection joint. We have here the railing details. So here is the section. And then the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for the railings. Here is the typical drain details. The sidewalk detail. the section, and the plan. We have here the plan for multiplex, the section and details. We have here the typical installation procedure, its plan, and the sections. Here is the reinforcement schedule and estimated quantities for approach slab. The plan for the abutment protection. Here's the detail of abutment protection 1 and the details of abutment protection 2. We have here the schedule of reinforcement bar for abutment protection. And then here is the bar bending diagram of abutment protection. We have here the general plans, standard painting on railing, side wall, and wing wall. Here's the plan and its rear elevation. So we have here the front elevation and the text detail. So we have here the note, when facing the black and white stripe painting, it should be in this orientation. So we have here the boring log, the general plan, the general profile, the cross sections. Here's the river profile, its stations. So here is the typical roadway section, the grouted riprap typical section, and the detail of whip holes. Here is the detail of reinforced concrete RC pedestal. So we have here the detail of integrated solar street lights, the fixed connection, the detail of projection, pipe connection. So we have here the detail of flex beam guardrail. Here's the plan, the elevation, its section, and the perspective view of the beam guardrail. We have here the detail of flex beam guardrail, the flex beam and detail, its sections, then the guardrail set out standard installation for end terminal. Then here we have the typical sign detail, so the installation details type A, and then the installation details for type B. So we have here the typical sign detail, its elevation, the friction detail, and then the shim detail. So for the notes, friction caps may be manufactured from either hot rolled or cold rolled steel sheets. Minimum sheet thickness shall be gauge 24. The rim edge shall be reasonably straight and smooth. Cap shall be sized and formed in such manner as to produce a drive on friction fit and have no tendency to rock when seated on the pipe. The depth shall be sufficient to give positive protection against the entrance of rainwater. They shall be free of sharp creases or indentation and showed no evidence of metal failure. Cap shall have an electro-deposited coating of zinc in accordance with requirements of ASTM specs A164 type G.S. So here we have the pavement marking details, the no passing lines on horizontal curves, so we have here the standard plan for PCCP 0.28 meter thick and 6.7 meters wide. And we have here the transitions for the straight circular curve case, then the circular curve, straight circular curve case, then the widening on horizontal simple curve. So we have here the traffic management plan, the construction traffic warnings, Then the standard DPWH tarpaulin. So the next is with the contract ID number of 26MH0034 with the name of contract construction of concrete road, Barangay Basak, Villamonte, Kapilan connecting to New Kalinog in support of the bamboo and coffee plantations. Station 10 plus 975 to Station 11 plus 855, Libak, Sultan Kudarat, located at Libak, Sultan Kudarat. For the scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, tools, supervision, and all other necessary services to complete the construction of concrete road, Barangay Basak, Villamonte, Kapilan connecting to New Kalinog in support of the bamboo and coffee plantation, Station 10 plus 975 to Station 11 plus 855, Libak, Sultan Kudarat, in accordance with the approved detailed engineering design, plans, specifications, and other contract documents. Any work not specifically mentioned but required for the proper completion of the project shall be included in the contractor's responsibilities. So the ABC for this project is 27,881,980 with 144 calendar days. So we have here the physical target of 1.76 lane kilometers. So we have here the index of drawings, the location plan, the vicinity map, and the key map. We have here the general notes, legends, symbols, and abbreviations, other general notes. We have here the quarry map, so for the summary of quantities, so for the clearing and grabbing, we have 0.88 hectares, individual removal of trees with 150 to 300 diameter small, we have 30 each. For the individual of trees, 301 to 500 diameter small, we have 3 each. For the removal of actual structures or obstruction, PCCP reinforced with 0.15 meter thick, we have 12 square meters. For the surplus common excavation, we have 10,181.94 cubic meters. For the embankment from borrowed common soil, we have 2,173.40 cubic meters. For the subgrade preparation of common material, we have 6,248 square meters. For the aggregate sub-base course, we have 1,624.48 cubic meters. For the Portland cement concrete pavement, unreinforced 0.15 meter thick, we have 880 square meters. For the Portland cement concrete pavement with 0.28 meter thick, we have 5,368 square meters. For the reinforcing steel grade 60, we have 632 kilograms. For the paint, we have 27 square meters. For reinforcing steel grade 40, we have 517 kilograms. For structural concrete, we have 29 cubic meters. For pipe culverts with 910 diameter, we have 31 linear meters. For the grouted riprap, we have 259.68 cubic meters. For the hazard marker chevron signs, we have 14 each. For the reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings white, we have 220 square meters. For the tapered solar LED roadway lighting, we have 10 each. So we have here the quantity sheets, the geohazard map, the tsunami hazard map, and then the liquefaction hazard map. We have here the digital terrain model. We have here the straight line diagram. We have here the typical roadway section, the traverse plan, the center line profile, we have here the typical plan of two-lane pavement, the detail of concrete slab, its sections, the detail of joints and rigid pavement, the longitudinal construction or contact joint, butt traverse construction or contact joint, weekend plane joint used in half with construction, and the detail of ramp approach. We have here the widening on horizontal simple curve, vertical curve, straight line circular curve case 1 and 2, and the horizontal curve. We have here the standard reinforced concrete head wall or RCPC, its elevation, the flared type head wall, single pipe, flared type head wall, double pipe, its section and details. We have here the detail of reinforced concrete pipe culvert. We have here the detail of road concrete barrier. The detail of grouted riprap, its cross sections, and the quantity of materials per meter. A schedule of 1.5 meter height grouted riprap with blocks. Then here we have the cross sections. We have here the general notes and the detail of solar street light. So we have here the note include additional detail for desired lamp post to be used and refer and verify to FIBICO standard. Refer to DPWH electrical technical specs for lamp post wattage rating, mounting height, and spacing equivalent. So here is the detail of integrated streetlight post, the detail of reinforced concrete RC pedestal, and the detail of projection pipe connection. And here we have the detail of pavement markings. Then we have here the traffic sign post footing detail, then the chevron sign detail, the hazard marker type HM, the W series symbol. Here we have the traffic management plan. And the DPWH standard project billboard. Next is with the contract ID number of 26MH007T with the name of contract rehabilitation of multipurpose building, Gymnasium Esperanza National High School, 304589 Barangay Poblacion, Esperanza, Sultan Kudarat, located at Esperanza, Sultan Kudarat. For the scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the rehabilitation of multipurpose building, Gymnasium Esperanza National High School, 304589 Barangay Poblacion, Esperanza, Sultan Kudarat, with the ABC for budget, with the approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000, with a contract duration of 144 calendar days. So here is the perspective, the site development plan, and the location map. So here is the floor plan for this project, the front elevation and the right side elevation. Here's the sectional elevation through Y1 and the sectional elevation through Y2. So here we have the sectional elevation through X1 and the sectional elevation through X2. So here we have the platform section details. So here's the plan, the platform frame detail, the front, the section A, section B, and the side view. So here is the detail for GERT 1 unit, and the GERT 2 1 unit. For the strat, we have 5 units. So we have here the schedule of doors and windows, the ceiling joist detail, and the ceiling layout plan. So here we have the detail of end cover, and this project for the notes, we have sound system with complete accessories, one set. For the specification, we have here the note, provide one set sound system with complete accessories. Provide mobile and foldable FIBA certified 3x3 basketball goals, 2 units. Provide 12 set of 30-inch industrial wall fan. Provide one set volleyball net with poles and stand. So here is the mobile and foldable FIBA certified 3x3 basketball goals, 2 units. And the volleyball net with poles and stand. Here is the specifications of the wall fan. And here is the lighting layout plan, the power layout plan, the single line diagram, the PB or panel board, the distribution panel board for reference, and the fire extinguisher layout plan, the geohazard map. For the summary of quantities, for the structural concrete, we have 40.03 cubic meters. For the formworks and poles work, we have 120 square meters. For the CHV non-load bearing, we have 1.89 square meters. For the carpentry and joinery works, we have 1 lump sum. For the finishing hardware, we have 1 lump sum. For the aluminum frame glass door, we have 3.36 square meters. For the aluminum glass window sliding type, we have 2.88 square meters. For the roll-up door, we have 1 set. For the doors wood panel, we have 1.89 square meters. For the ceiling, we have 39.36 square meters. For the glazed tiles and trims, we have 37.90 square meters. For the cement plaster finish, we have 3.78 square meters. For the painting works for masonry and concrete, we have 920.64 square meters. For the painting works for wood, we have 3.17 square meters. For the painting works steel, we have 1,978.91 square meters. For the pre-painted metal sheets, we have 50 square meters. For the structural steel, we have 1 lump sum. For the metal structure accessories for steel plates, we have 38.47 kilograms. For the fire extinguisher, we have 3 sets. For the air conditioning system, we have 1 lump sum. For the conduits boxes and fittings, we have 1 lump sum. For the wires and wiring devices, we have 1 lump sum. For the panel board with main and branch breakers, we have 1 lump sum. For the lighting fixtures, we have 1 lump sum. Here is the DPWH standard project billboard.
For the next project, we have a contract ID of 26MH89. And the name of the contract is Construction Completion of Multi-Purpose Building, Barangay Salangsang, Lebak, Sultan Kudarat, with the coordinates of 6.6306 to 124.1999992. The project location is Lebak, Sultan Kudarat. Scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction completion of multi-purpose building Barangay Salangsang, Lebak, Sultan Kudarat. The approved budget for the contract is 2,970,000 pesos, and the contract duration is 110 calendar days. So here's the detailed engineering design plan for this project. We have the geotag photo, exterior perspective, and the location map. Next is the floor plan, the right side elevation, and front elevation. Next, we have the cross-section through X, the longitudinal section through Y, the schedule of door, rear elevation, and left side elevation. Next is the reflected ceiling plan and roof plan for the existing building. Here's the isometric view, text screw spacing, roof panel side lap detail blow up, roofing fixer. The furnitures for reference, we have dining table, solid hardwood, 1 set, and the dimension for 6-seater. Next, we have mobile pedestal recessed handle, 22 sets, L-shaped sofa, 2 sets, heavy-duty monoblock chair, we have 13 sets, Go-A rectangle conference table, 22 sets, and wooden high back chair, the front and isometric view with 28 sets. Next is the general notes. Another general notes. We have the foundation layout plan, the detail of stair on fill, the wall footing detail, the section, and plan for F1C1. Next is the roof framing plan, the detail of rafter truss. We have 1 and 2, and the detail of gutter, detail of splice for L bars and purlins, C purlins. Next, we have the water layout plan, the storm drainage layout plan, the catch basin detail, the plan and its cross section. Next, the isometric view for water layout plan, water line layout plan, and storm drainage layout plan. Next is the lighting layout plan and power layout plan for dirty kitchen. Here is the electrical riser diagram for panel board, the load schedule for panel board, the receptacle outlet wall mounting detail, recess type for reference, and the one-line diagram, as well as the general notes. For reference, we have 5 sets of solar LED floodlight, 7,000 to 8,000 lumens, and 6 sets of 4 inches diameter surface-mounted 18 watts downlight. Next, we have the emergency layout plan, the fire extinguisher detail, and the general notes. And for reference, we have 1 set of emergency light. For the summary of quantities, for structure excavation, common soil, we have 15.04 cubic meters. For embankment from roadway or structure excavation, common soil, 9.39 cubic meters. Embankment from burrow for common soil, 9.33 cubic meters. Gravel fill, 9.04 cubic meters. Structural concrete, 3,000 psi, 11.20 cubic meters. Reinforcing steel, grade 40, 576.71 kilograms. Reinforcing steel, grade 60, 202.24 kilograms. Formworks and false works, 6.60 square meters. Soil poisoning, 60.30 liters. CHB non-load bearing, 100 millimeters, 40.32 square meters. Carpentry and joinery works, 1 lump sum. Finishing hardware, 1 lump sum. Doors for wood panel, 3.78 square meters. Glaze tiles and trims, 32.20 square meters. Cement plaster finish, 3.30 square meters. Painting works for masonry or concrete, 83.93 square meters. Painting works for wood, 6.36 square meters. Painting works for steel, 81.08 square meters. Fabricated metal roofing accessory for flashings, 10 linear meter. For gutters, 20 linear meters. For pre-painted metal sheets, rib type, 80.40 square meters. Structural steel, 1 lump sum. For trusses, 172.31 kilograms. For purlins, 173.30 kilograms. For bolts and rods, 15 each. Steel plates, 70.65 kilograms. Fire extinguisher, 2 sets. Air conditioning system, 1 lump sum. Catch basin, 3 each. Sewer line, 1 lump sum. Storm drainage and downspout, 1 lump sum. Plumbing fixtures, 1 lump sum. Cold water lines, 1 lump sum. Conduits, boxes, and fittings, 1 lump sum. Wires and wiring devices, one lump sum. Panel board with main and branch breakers, 1 lump sum. And lighting fixtures, 1 lump sum. Next, we have the geohazard map and DPWH standard project billboard. For the next project, we have a contract ID of 26MH0091. The name of the contract is Construction Completion, Phase 2 of Multi-Purpose Building, Barangay Sison, Bagumbayan, Sultan Kudarat, with the coordinates of 6.550668 to 124.585553. The project location is Bagumbayan, Sultan Kudarat. Scope of works. The project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction completion of the Phase 2 of Multi-Purpose Building, Barangay Sison, Bagumbayan, Sultan Kudarat. The approved budget for the contract is 1,980,000 pesos, and the contract duration is 105 calendar days. So here is the detailed engineering design plan for this project. We have the geotag photo, exterior perspective, the location map. Next, we have the existing floor plan for the existing gymnasium, and the floor plan for existing storage, and the schedule of door and front elevation. Next, we have the left side elevation and longitudinal section through Y, right side elevation, rear elevation, and cross section through X for dirty kitchen. Note, wall finishes must be applied with neutralizer, concrete, sealer or primer, patching, compound, skim coat, and 2 coats of paint. Next, we have the reflected ceiling plan and roof plan for the dirty kitchen, as well as the roofing fixture, texture spacing, roof panel side lap detail blow up. Here is the detail of the kitchen cabinet, its side elevation, top view, and for reference, we have 11.5 cubic feet, 2-door refrigerator, 1 set, heavy-duty monoblock chair, 37 sets, mobile, pedestal, recessed handle, 10 sets, water dispenser with bottom load, water, 1 set for furnitures. Next, we have the foundation layout plan, the wall footing details, the section and its plans for F1C1. Next, the roof framing plan and the detail of splice for C-purlins and L-bars and detail of rafter truss. Note, painting of steel structure use gray oxide primer with catalyst before applying an enamel paint. Next, we have the line layout plan, the storm drainage layout plan. Next is the isometric view of water layout plan and storm drainage layout plan. Next, we have the lighting layout plan and power layout plan for dirty kitchen. And for reference, we have 4 sets of 4 inches diameter surface-mounted 18 watts downlight and 10 sets of solar LED floodlight 7,000 to 8,000 lumens. Here is the fire extinguisher detail and its schedule, as well as the emergency layout plan. For the summary of quantities, we have structure excavation 4.14 cubic meters, embankment from roadway or structure excavation, common soil 3.16 cubic meters, embankment from borrow for common soil 8.32 cubic meters. The gravel fill, we have 7.49 cubic meters, structural concrete 3,000 psi, 7.38 cubic meters, reinforcing steel grade 40, 302.33 kilograms, reinforcing steel grade 60, 49.93 kilograms, formworks and false works 2.7 square meters, soil poisoning 22.61 liters, CHB non-load bearing 100 millimeters, 3.60 square meters, carpentry and joinery works 1 lump sum, finishing hardware 1 lump sum, glazed tiles and trims 8.4 square meters, cement plaster finish 7.2 square meters, painting works for masonry 725 square meters, painting works for steel 483.04 square meters. For flashings, we have 10 linear meter, gutters 15 linear meter. For pre-painted metal sheets, corrugated type 32.95 square meters, structural steel 1 lump sum, structural steel trusses 68.92 kilograms. For purlins 83.52 kilograms. For bolts and rods 12 each. For steel plates 35.33 kilograms. For fire extinguisher, we have 2 sets. Air conditioning system 1 lump sum, sewer line works 1 lump sum, storm drainage and downspout 1 lump sum, plumbing fixture 1 lump sum, cold water lines 1 lump sum, conduits, boxes and fittings 1 lump sum, wires and wiring devices 1 lump sum, lighting fixtures 1 lump sum. And here is the geohazard map for Municipality of Bagong Bayan and the DPWH standard project billboard. For the next project, we have a contract ID of 26MH0104 with the contract name of construction of multi-purpose building, Barangay Kraan, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat, with the coordinates of 6.119145 to 124.34441. The project location is Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. Scope of works, the project covers the provision of labor, materials, equipment, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction of multi-purpose building, Barangay Kraan, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. The approved budget for the contract is 4,950,000 pesos. The contract duration is 144 calendar days. So here's the detailed engineering plan for this project. Here's the perspective, the site development plan, the location map, and the reference of location, as well as the table of contents. Next, we have the floor plan. Note, the floor area for gym is 492.48 square meters. And the wall finishes must be applied with a neutralizer, concrete, sealer or primer, patching, compound, skim coat, and 2 coats of paint, semi-gloss latex. All concrete pedestal AG-304 Deep Forest Painted Finish. Next, we have the front elevation and the rear elevation. The left or right side elevation. The sectional elevation through Y. The details of girth and gutter. Next, we have the detail of gym and cover 1, 2 units. The sectional elevation through X. And the details of the louver. For reference, we have 19 sets of heavy-duty plastic chair. Here's the roof plan. The ramp detail, its isometric view, plan, elevation, and section elevation. The general notes. Next, we have the foundation plan. The detail of wall footing, the detail of base plate, and detail of F1C1. Next, we have the detail of girth, 2 units, beam layout. Next is the detail of strut, detail of girth 1, detail of sag rod, isometric view for the rib type, texture spacing, roof panel side lap detail, roofing fixer, detail of sway brace overlapping and turnbuckle, the detail of splice for C purlins and L bars, and the roofing plan for degemination. Next, we have the detail of truss assembly. We have 2 details, and detail 3 of truss connector plate. Next, detail of splice plate. Next, we have the lighting layout plan and its specification. Note, electrical fixture, please submit similar description for the confirmation. Next is the power layout plan and the receptacle outlet wall mounting detail for reference. Next, we have the single line diagram, the panel board diagram, and the panel board or DPB for reference and its specifications. Next, we have the general note and specifications, hybrid inverter specifications, solar panel specifications, for block diagram and PV electrical design analysis. And here's the units or abbreviations for reference. Next, we have the fire extinguisher layout plan and the schedule of the fire extinguisher, as well as its detail and general notes. Next, we have the geohazard map for Municipality of Palimbang. For summary of quantities, structure excavation for common soil 71.40 cubic meters, embankment from roadway or structure excavation 47.86 cubic meters, embankment from barrow common soil 123.21 cubic meters, gravel fill 55.50 cubic meters, structural concrete 3000 psi 73.36 cubic meters, reinforcing steel grade 40 1760.42 kilograms, reinforcing steel grade 60 1443.96 kilograms, formworks and falseworks 81.78 square meters, CHB non-load bearing 100 millimeters 75.78 square meters, carpentry and joinery works 1 lump sum, cement plaster finish 116.88 square meters, painting works for masonry or concrete 116.88 square meters, painting works for steel 883.79 square meters, for ridge or hip rows 32.40 linear meter, for gutters we have 64.80 linear meter, for pre-painted metal sheets rib type 752.56 square meters, for structural steel 1 lump sum, trusses 4,017.3 kilograms, purlins 2,826.58 kilograms, bolts and rods 280 each, turnbuckle 20 each, cross bracing 322.32 kilograms, steel plates 535.12 kilograms, fire extinguisher 2 sets, solar panel with inverter, battery and other devices 1 lump sum, conduits, boxes and fittings 1 lump sum, wires and wiring devices 1 lump sum, panel board with main and branch breakers 1 lump sum, and lighting fixtures 1 lump sum. And here is the DPWH and COA standard project billboard. For the last project, we have a contract ID of 26MH0107. The name of the contract is Construction of Multipurpose Building, Barangay Malatunol, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat, with the coordinates of 6.317354 to 124.119895. The project location is Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. Scope of works: the project covers the provision of labor, materials, miscellaneous tools, and other related construction requirements necessary for the construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Malatunol, Palimbang, Sultan Kudarat. The approved budget for the contract is 4,950,000 pesos. The contract duration is 144 calendar days. So here is the detailed engineering plan for the last project. We have the perspective, the site development plan, location map, and the reference for location and table of the contents. Next, we have the floor plan. Note that the total floor area of the gym is 492.48 square meters. The wall finishes must be applied with neutralizer, concrete sealer or primer, patching compound, skim coat or 2 coats of paint, semi-gloss latex, all concrete pedestal, AG-304 Deep Forest painted finish. Next, we have the front elevation and rear elevation. Next, we have the left or right side elevation, the sectional elevation through Y, as well as the details of girth and gutter. Next is the detail of gym and cover, 2 units, the sectional elevation through X, as well as the detail of louver. And for reference, we have 4 sets of heavy-duty plastic chair. Next, we have the roof plan and the ramp detail. This is the isometric view for the ramp. Next is the plan elevation and section elevation for the ramp. Next is the general notes. Next, we have the foundation plan, the detail of wall footing, detail of base plate, and detail of F1C1. Next, we have detail of girth, 2 units, beam layout. Next, we have the roof framing plan, the detail of strut, detail of girth 1, detail of sagrat, isometric view of rib type. Next is tack screw spacing, roof panel side lap detail, the roofing fixer, detail of sway brace, overlapping and turnbuckle, the detail of splice for C-purlins and L-bars. Note, painting of steel structure, use gray oxide primer with catalyst before applying an enamel paint. Next, we have the detail of truss assembly. We have 2 details. The detail of truss connector plate and detail of splice plate. Next, we have the lighting layout plan as well as its specification and legend for reference. The power layout plan and the wall mounting detail for receptacle, outlet for reference. Next, we have single line diagram, the load schedule for panel board, as well as the reference for panel board or distribution panel board. Next, we have the block diagram, the PV electrical design analysis unit abbreviations, general notes and specifications, hybrid inverter specification, solar panel specifications, and legends and symbols for reference. Next, we have the fire extinguisher layout plan and its detail, as well as the schedule and general notes. Next, we have the geohazard map for Municipality of Palimbang. For the summary of quantities, structure excavation, common soil 71.40 cubic meters, embankment from roadway or structure excavation, common soil 47.86 cubic meters, embankment from borough for common soil 122.73 cubic meters, gravel fill 55.50 cubic meters, structural concrete 3000 psi, 73.36 cubic meters, reinforcing steel grade 40 1760.42 kilograms, reinforcing steel grade 60 1443.96 kilograms, formworks and falseworks 81.78 square meters, CHB non-load bearing 100 millimeters 75.78 square meters, carpentry and joinery works 1 lump sum, cement plaster finish 116.88 square meters, painting works for masonry or concrete 116.88 square meters, painting works for steel 883.79 square meters, for ridge or hip rows 32.40 linear meter, for gutters 64.80 linear meter, for pre-painted metal sheets rib type 752.56 square meters, structural steel 1 lump sum. For trusses, we have 4,017.3 kilograms. For purlins, we have 2,826.58 kilograms. For bolts and rods, we have 280 each. For turnbuckle, 20 each. Cross bracing, 322.32 kilograms. For steel plates, we have 535.12 kilograms. Fire extinguisher, 2 sets. Solar panel with inverter, battery, and other devices, 1 lump sum. Conduits, boxes, and fittings, 1 lump sum. Wires and wiring devices, 1 lump sum. Panel board with main and branch breakers, 1 lump sum. Lighting fixtures, 1 lump sum. And here is the DPWH and COA standard project billboard. And this concludes the presentation of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Planning and Design Engineers. Next, we will be discussing the last part of the first agenda, which will be the documents to be submitted by the bidders, and also the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification and award that will be given by the Back Secretariat, Mr. Alan Freno.
Thank you, Ma'am Jed, and good morning, everyone. So, our next agenda is the documents to be submitted by the bidder. We have here for the technical component envelope, Class A documents, the legal documents, valid field JEPs registration certificate. It should be platinum. Registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, DTI, for sole proprietorship or cooperative development authority for cooperatives and equivalent document. Mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located. Tax clearance per EO 398. Another documents, the statement of prospective bidder of all its government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature, and complexity to the contract to be bid. I would like to stress out these documents that it should be the full disclosure is required of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started. Failure to comply with this provision may lead to outright disqualification during the opening of bids. Next is the statement of the bidder single largest completed contract is SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid except under condition provided under the rules. And of course, the pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint ventures. And then the original copy of bid security or copy of notarized bid security declaration. Another thing is the project requirements, which shall include the following: organizational chart of the contract to be bid, list of contractors, key personnel like the project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foreman. And make sure na ito po yung mga key personnel nyo ay validated sa CWA po. The list of contractors, major equipment units, which are owned, leased, or under purchase agreements. Of course, supported by proof of ownership or certificate of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor for the duration of the entire project. As per DEO number 11, series of 2017, the inclusion of maximum testing materials, equipment in the technical component of the bid. It should be attached. The original duly signed omnibus term statement, the latest format, the latest general information sheet reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. Take note, for corporations, and sworn affidavit of eligibility and beneficial ownership in accordance with the Section 82 of the Implementing Rules and Regulations of RA 12009 and PhilJIP's Advisory number 2025-007. Next, all bidders shall be required to submit a sworn disclosure of relation and beneficial ownership. Take note, all bidders shall be required to submit a sworn disclosure of relation and beneficial ownership, clearly identifying the natural persons who ultimately own, control, or benefit from the bidding entity, whether directly or indirectly, through shareholding, voting rights, contractual arrangement, or other means of control in accordance with the Section 81.1 of the IRR of RA 12009. Medium A contractors are now also required to submit ISO 9001-2015 certification in their bids for bidding documents of project project costing more than 30 million pesos. For the documents to be included in the technical, in the financial envelope, financial requirements, prospective bidder, audited financial statement showing, among others, the prospective bidder's total current assets and liabilities, stamp received by the BIR or the duly accredited and authorized institutions. The prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, or the NFCC. The Class B documents, if applicable, duly signed joint venture agreement in accordance with RA number 4566 and its IRR in case of joint venture. Duly notarized statements from the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVE in the instance that the bid is successful. So those were the documents that shall be included in your financial and technical components. So let's now proceed to the next agenda, which is the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post qualification, and award. So the back of this office is using two methods for the procedure of eligibility check. One is the electronic eligibility processing, and the other is the presence or absence of documents, or the non-discretionary pass-fail criteria. The electronic eligibility is performed in the CWA, or the Civil Works application, but before the eligibility processing, we are conducting the contract profiling, which usually occur during the first day of publication. So during this contract profiling, we are going to input the basic contract data like the contract ID, the ABC, the contract duration, major work category, and etc. This basic contract data is the basis of the system to determine whether the bidder is eligible or ineligible. During the electronic eligibility, yung ini-input lamang po natin dito ay yung pickup license ng mga participating bidders. And then it's up to the system na mag-generate ng result. And then pag meron ng result, ito po ating piniprint out and then binibigay po sa back chairman for the verification or validation ng result during the actual opening of bids. So yun po yung procedure ng electronic eligibility. The other one is the non-discretionary pass-fail criteria. Dito po ay nangyayari during the opening of bids. And during this time, binabalidate na po yung result ng electronic eligibility. So, take note na meron pong corresponding checklist yung ating technical documents as well as the financial documents. So, para po maging eligible bidder kayo, dapat maging complying po yung inyong financial technical proposal against the checklist which we have mentioned earlier, as well as yung inyong technical financial proposal dapat din po complying against the corresponding checklist. So para po maging eligible bidder kayo, dapat yung inyong technical and financial proposal must be found complying. So the next is the preliminary examination of bids. During the opening of bids, obviously, madidetermine natin yung lowest bidder. And then, after that, magko-conduct po tayo ng detailed evaluation of bids. So, dito po sa detailed evaluation of bids, kung doon sa preliminary examinations and opening of bids ay presence or absence lang ng mga documents, dito po sa detailed evaluation of bids ay chine-check na po yung validity at yung accuracy ng inyong mga sinubmit na documents. For example, yung inyong pong BOQ ay chine-check po yun one by one ni WG as to the accuracy. And then after po ng detailed evaluation of bids, madidetermine na po natin yung lowest calculated bidder. From lowest bidder, magiging lowest calculated bidder. Pagka kayo pang lowest calculated bidder ay hindi pa yung guarantee na sa inyo po ma-award yung project. Kasi si DPWH ay magkukonduct ng post-qualification doon po sa lowest calculated bidder. Pagka si lowest calculated bidder ay pumasa sa post-qualification, automatically siya po yung magiging lowest calculated responsive bid. Otherwise, pag na-fail po si lowest calculated bidder, immediately magpuproceed si WG ng post-qualification sa second lowest calculated bidder. And so on and so forth until such time na ma-determine po si lowest calculated responsive bid. Kung meron na po tayong lowest calculated responsive bid, si BAC po ay mag-i-issue ng BAC resolution recommending award to the lowest calculated responsive bid. And then, mag-i-issue na po ng notice of award doon po sa lowest calculated responsive bid. So to wrap it up, from the electronic eligibility and preliminary examination of bids and the opening of bids, meron po tayong lowest bidder. After ng detailed evaluation of bids, magkakaroon po tayo ng lowest calculated bid. After ng post-qualification, magkakaroon po tayo ng lowest calculated responsive bid. And thereafter, mag-i-issue po tayo ng NOA doon sa lowest calculated bidder. So, yun lamang po yung simple flow ng ating procurement process from eligibility check up to the notice of award. And I'd like to encourage yung ating pong mga bidder, yung ating mga contractor na sana po mag-maintain kayo ng updated na eligibility documents doon po sa ating CWA. In that way, maiiwasan po natin yung delay ng ating procurement process. Maiiwasan po natin yung mga unnecessary unlocking. So sana po, as I said, mag-maintain po kayo ng updated na eligibility documents. So kung meron po kayong concerned or issues dito po sa ating agenda, pwede po kayong please let the office, the back of this office, to know para po ma-address po natin yung inyong mga concern and issues. And pwede din po kayong mag-message dun po sa ating message box sa online po. Anytime po, we will try our best na ma-address po yung inyong mga concern and issues. So, I think that would be all, Ma'am Jade. Ma'am Jade. Okay na, Ma'am Jade. Next agenda na po tayo. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alan Freno. We just finished our first agenda. Next, we will give chance for our interested bidders to speak or ask, since the second agenda is questions, comments from bidders and replies of BAC and other representatives of procuring entity. may I ask Mr. Ralph to check if there is any queries in our live streaming? Since there are none, I would like to proceed to the third agenda, the other matters. However, we will still entertain the questions if some will raise. Fellow back members, TWG Secretariat, any other matters to be discussed or raised? Since there are none, let's proceed to the last part of the agenda, the summary of proceedings. Okay. Since we came to the end of our agenda, I would like to remind the interested bidders that the bid documents and plans discussed can be viewed in our PLGF site, and you are always welcome to our office here in DPWH Sultan Kudarat, 2nd District Engineering Office, Libak, Sultan Kudarat, Monday to Friday from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. I would like to solicit motion to end the pre-bid conference. The motion was raised by Engineer Johaira Magarang and seconded by Engineer Pinky Duruin. I formally closed the pre-bid conference at exactly 11:40 in the morning.